Welcome, everybody, to another week of Messing with the Mackentyres. I am your host, the Celtic Casanova, Johnny McIntyre. Do not forget to check us out at djbproductionsnetwork.com on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe. Today, I am being joined with my good brother, Angus McIntyre. How are you, brother?
We're still doing this, huh?
We still are. We haven't been canceled yet.
We're still doing it. But we also have a special guest for you. Appearing from last week's episode, he's coming with us this week.
By popular demand.
People couldn't get enough of him.
Oh.
I don't know how popular.
I guess it's time.
There you go.
Starting off early.
I guess,
Dealing with you guys, you gotta drink early.
All over.
Mine too.
I'm just going to make a quick political statement this week. Because if I'm here and you're here, doesn't it make it our time?
You stole my gimmick. Sweet sassy Malassie.
All right. So, Ty, I thought we'd bring you back this week. We could talk about something in all of our wheelhouses, which is professional wrestling and growing up in the late 80s and the 90s with one of the most fun eras of professional wrestling. So today I brought us together. I want to talk about our top fives. But first, what is your first memory of professional wrestling? Like, how are you introduced? Like, I don't care if you watched wrestling for 3 years prior, but what is that first memory that sticks out in your head?
Okay, before I say that, since I put this shirt on since we was talking about old school wrestlers, WWF versus WCW. It's full of faded right now, but
where'd you get that from?
Yeah,
That's gorgeous.
It's like a Marvel vs. DC shirt.
I made it.
Oh, make me one too.
So my uncle, I got you. My uncle got me into pro wrestling as a very young kid. I was like 5, and I don't have a memory from when we watched it on TV. My first memory comes when he took me down to the Spectrum.
Ooh.
And my uncle used to love to sit up high so he could look down at the ring. I think he was just being cheap, too. So right before the main event, we would always go down so we could be one of the first ones out. So the first thing I remember when people ask me this question is Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy at the Spectrum.
Oh, that's old.
And Hogan body slamming Bundy. And I was literally like less than 50 yards from the ring.
What year do you think that was?
That's like Mania.
Probably like 80. Yeah, around like 86, 87, I believe, something like that.
Oh, man, so you got
I could be wrong, but that's my first memory.
I didn't go to my first wrestling match until I think I was like a freshman in high school. Like, it's just nothing my parents wanted to get me involved with. But like, I was a fan, and my first memory, like, I was told I watched wrestling from the age of 3. So we're talking about 1980.
I was 5.
I was watching it, and one of the first things when I was little was my dad was actually partially blind in one eye because I jumped off the kitchen table and dropped an elbow on him while he was laying on the ground. And that's one of the first. I don't remember doing that. That's just a story that's been told to me by my dad, my mom, but my first real memory of watching wrestling comes on a Saturday morning when Nails and the Big Boss Man were going at it.
And you still kept watching.
And I still kept watching.
Sorry to hear that.
I just couldn't, like, as a kid.
Nails terrified the shit out of me.
Jesus. As a kid, like, you think everything that's presented before you is what it is.
So on TV, it must be true.
So I thought this inmate somehow got out of jail, and it was this corrections officer's job to get him back in. And that was my first introduction to storytelling in wrestling, and I was hooked from there on, even as bad as that was.
That's around WrestleMania. That's around SummerSlam '88, right? Like SummerSlam '90 around that time.
It was 90.
When they was in Wembley.
Because didn't Nails hold up Vince?
When they was in Wembley.
SummerSlam '90 was in Philly because I went to that.
Okay, so I was about 5 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My first memory of wrestling is I remember I could just still picture it sitting in my grandma's living room on an ottoman, watching JYD in a steel cage match of sorts. I don't know what company, but it might have even been a VHS because my family was into wrestling to an extent. Not my immediate family, but my first favorite pro wrestler and my first memory is JYD. Nobody could see him.
Shame. Let a
All
cut
right,
plug.
so let's start off with top fives here. I'll kick it off. Coming in at number 5, we're just covering childhood wrestling. This isn't an all-time list. This is just like growing up as a kid. Who do you enjoy? So my date bracket starts from approximately 1990 to say 2000 for me personally. We'll keep that as my childhood. Number 5 for me, I'm going to go the bad guy, Razor Ramon. Because for me, there was nobody cooler as a kid. Razor coming in with all those promos. Hey, go.
Razor was incredible.
His in-ring work, like I loved his style. This dude was it to me. Like watching him and Brett go, watching the he feuded with Macho, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then that's when didn't Perfect end up
That's
teaming
when Perfect swapped.
Yeah, Perfect went over to the other side. But man, number 5 for me, Razor Ramon. That's not even close. Joe or Angus, what do you got?
Number 5. Number 5 is probably like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Probably the Blue Blazer. My first like memory of watching a live pay-per-view was Mania 5, and it's not even a long match and it's not technical or nothing. But I just remember the Blue Blazer coming down and doing he lands on his feet, the moonsault, but lands on his feet. And I was like, who is this man? I need to know more about this guy. And the Blue Blazer was it.
He was a good 5-6 years ahead of his time before WCW ever started like the cruiserweights or actually ECW really. But all right, Ty, what do you got for number 5?
Number 5, as a kid, like you said, go back to a WrestleMania. Oh man, Steamboat.
Okay,
Steamboat was it for me.
That's a good pick.
He's definitely on my. Hell yeah, man! I love Steamboat, but that's like number 5. We're gonna go down the list, but are we in tag teams or just solo stuff?
Whatever your memory, whatever your favorite.
You want. It's your list. I'll give you a chance for an honorable mention as well.
My favorite tag team of all time.
Is this number 4, Ty?
These years.
Steiner. The old WCW figures.
Oh man.
Steiner brothers, mostly Scott Steiner. Rick Steiner, I when I'm in the ring, I took a lot of things from him.
Yeah.
But Scott Steiner with the Frankensteiners and the screwdrivers and the T-bones.
All that.
Everything that man did was amazing.
I'm just glad to see the Steiner screwdrivers making a comeback these days.
Yeah, the drill claw.
Big boy Brian Cage dropping that Steiner screwdriver once again.
Oh, is he?
I'm glad somebody used it. Yeah, he called it the drill claw.
Number 4, Angus.
I'm gonna go Bret Hart.
That number 4?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts my soul.
His curmudgeonness turns me off.
Too, man. That hurts me too.
At number 4? Oh.
Yeah. Well, my number 1's not the best number 1, but
he's your number 1, so that's all that matters. My number 4, I got Ric Flair. Now, that's number 4 as a child.
Yeah.
All time, he's certainly a lot higher now. But as a child, it was so exciting to me because I loved WCW as a kid. 605. Yes, I am a heart mark, you dumbass producer. Wait till I get my hands on you. As number 4, Ric Flair. As a child, watching him wrestle in the ring, watching that promo, and then
same match over and over.
There's nothing that got more exciting to me when Flair would bleed, and it would just go through his hair. That white hair would just be all covered in blood. That to me was just fascinating as a kid. I don't even know what else to say. Flair's Flair.
The promos are the best ever.
It drew me in. I thought he was just this rich guy that just loved kicking people's asses.
Yeah, meanwhile, you hear all the backstage politics. He's a bitch.
Number 3.
No, you have to go tie 4 or 5. Oh, ties was the Steiners.
No, I do my 4. Yeah,
I got this. I'm going to start off with the number 3s. Number 3 for me is the first face I saw that made wrestling larger than life for me, and wanted to tune back in every week to see what he was going to do, because I took my vitamins, I said my prayers, I stayed in school, and at the end of the day, it all comes down, Hogan must pose. And I just remember being in front of that mirror as a kid and doing all the Hogan poses, brother. And Hulk Hogan was number 3 for me. He drew me in. I loved him, but at some point in time, even as a kid, as I got older, I started to feel it being corny. But then he stays in my top 5 list when he reinvigorates himself and becomes Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I just think all-time top heels, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, Hulk Hogan, the person over the years we've learned is not the person we would have idolized as a child. But, you know, for everything he did accomplish before, he still is in my top 5.
Sometimes people know their faults and they bring it to somewhere else, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Angus, number 3.
Any incarnation of Randy Savage. I love Savage. I love the face. I love even just when he would throw Elizabeth in front of him. That's one of my favorite things, when a male wrestler throws a female manager in front of him, and then he comes over the top and hits you. I love that cowardliness.
Nothing more cowardly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that stuff. I love cowardliness heels. Yeah, any incarnation.
That's a good one. I wish we could pick more than 5, but I'm had to agree with Johnny here with the Hogan, because you know, if it wasn't for Hogan, he would be higher up on my list. But I got 2 others that it's like past him for me. But Hogan, growing up, Hogan was the man. I used to try to cut my t-shirts up like him and everything.
Oh, you got
I did the leg drop when I first started wrestling. I can't right now because my ass hurt. I stopped doing that. But yeah, Hogan was the shit back in the day. Like growing up, Hogan was everything. I cried when he lost the title.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, to Warrior, that was one of the most devastating days of my life.
Yeah.
Our producer would like to mention Bam Bam Bigelow.
That match was still one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah, I have my grandma used to teach ceramics, and I have this thing that I made, a big Bam Bam Bigelow, like with the flame thing and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude. And I was young when I made that.
Yeah.
My grandma hasn't done ceramics in ages, but I love Bam Bam.
He was my first introduction to tattoos. Like, he's the first guy I can remember. I was like, what is on his head? Like, people get tattooed there? Like, I remember being enamored by Bam Bam.
Yeah, I know. I thought he painted that every night.
Yeah.
I thought there was paint in his head every night.
Do either of you guys remember the old LJN game, like WrestleMania? It had Bam Bam and Honky Tonk and all them in it. That was a great game. I mean, it was terrible now, but it was a great game back then.
I don't remember that at all.
In the arcade.
Yeah. No, not the WrestleMania Bret Hart one. It was the Nintendo one that had Hulk Hogan. It was a Hogan.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that game. I had that on my Nintendo.
Yeah, me too. Pro wrestling with Fighter Hayabusa.
Oh God. Reno, who you got sitting at the number 2 spot?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, I'm going back and forth.
Hold on. Who will manage Bam Bam Bigelow?
In what sense?
Didn't he have a manager? Wasn't
Yeah.
Who managed him at first?
Ted DiBiase managed him.
Yeah,
he's in a corporation.
No, but before that, when he first came in, didn't he have a manager?
He was a face when he came in.
But dude, talk about like a guy having like a Captain Lou Albano as a manager. Dude, I don't know why, but for me, Bigelow and Albano would be a good fit together.
Oliver Humperdinck, damn.
Oh, Oliver Humperdinck. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But I think Captain Lou would have been a great manager for Bam Bam.
Yeah.
I think they just would have been. I think they would have played off each other with the promos, Captain Lou and Bam Bam.
Yeah, because they're very similar but enough different.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, bringing it back for number 2 for you.
Captain Luke could have gave him that flower with the fire.
My number 2, man. I would go Warrior because I loved Warrior so much as a kid. But like I said, I was a Hogan guy, but I got to go with the Stinger, man.
Stinger, number 2, okay.
Sting was everything. He was the man. I was painting my face. And I was painting my face not as Warrior. I was painting it for Sting. And when I got into wrestling, I wanted to wear face. I'm a black. That don't look. I don't have the same pigment as Sting. So I won't look like him. So yeah, but Sting, number 2,
but
man.
The brown makes the orange pop. The orange makes the brown pop.
Yeah. Especially when Sting didn't come back.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you might get in trouble for doing Kroger.
Yeah, right.
I agree. I think for me,
hey, I did go out there with face paint before though. I like the
Surfer Stick was incredible. When they kicked him out the horseman and broke his kneecap. Oh,
that's great.
That's a memory that sticks out to me as a child. Thinking how horrible it was.
I still watch those on the network.
Yeah.
I still think there was money in him eventually coming back to Surfer Sting.
Oh, there definitely was.
Yo, it was. The thing that makes me all warm and fuzzy, my kid now, he just came to me and said, Dad, I want to wrestle like Tully Blanchard.
Oh,
he said, I've been watching a whole bunch of Four Horsemen, and I want to wrestle like Tully.
That hit you right.
I've been watching a lot of Tully shows lately. Tully's phenomenal. Tully's absolutely phenomenal.
Just to deviate for a second, speaking of Tully Blanchard, are you guys starting to see a little smoke and fire with like a new incarnation of the Four Horsemen coming?
I'm not. I think he's going to leave Sean.
I think we're going to have a new Four Horsemen managed by Tully and Arn, and it's going to be FTR, Sean Spears, and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, they just want to change the name. That's it.
I don't see it happening.
You don't call them the Four Horsemen, but you know that.
Might as well get a TNA Fortune 4 type deal going on.
Something like that, yeah. Old Desmond Wolf.
One of my favorite things ever is Tully, he would Tully would get pushed off and go run in the ropes, and then he would jump over the guy and he would just drop right down him on the headlock. Like instead of hitting both ropes, he would go just halfway and just jump right down on the dude. I used to love that.
He was just so mean.
He was meticulous.
TJ just told me that he's when wrestling does open back up, that he's gonna bring in. He's gonna start using a slingshot suplex.
Yeah, that's George.
That's how much he loved.
If you were gonna follow
anybody, and goddamn Zack Jr.
But so is Tully your number 2, Angus?
No, I got Rick Rude.
Oh, okay.
I got Rick Rude as a fat little boy, as a child. I mean, who didn't love Rick Rude? When I'd be alone in my bedroom, I'd be like, I wish a girl would kiss me in front of people.
What I'd like to have right now is for you little fat, overweight kid sucking down your cheese whiz behind his mother's television to shut up so I could show you what a real man looks like.
That's like me. Cheese whiz behind my mother.
Talking right to you.
He was. Oh, my heavens.
I remember asking my uncle, I said, what's a sweat hog?
Yeah. Nobody knows. You fat pig.
Nobody knows what sweat hog is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But Rick Rude, just his selling and everything was incredible. I mean, clearly, who could make Warrior look that amazing? And he made Warrior look amazing.
Right.
And when you're young, you don't realize it. But especially after you do, a couple years in the business, you realize, Rude made Warrior. Warrior didn't make Warrior. Warrior was incredible physique and everything, and his spaced out promos drew you in. But Rude made Warrior.
I agree. Rude's a great pick at number 2.
You know what? Once you're in the business,
what's that?
You know what else? When you're in the business, you realize who was terrible.
Who's that?
Goldberg.
Oh yeah.
Who?
Goldberg.
Yeah, you do.
That dude sucked ass.
Take a firm pass on that one.
When I was a kid, I loved it. But I look at it back this dude sucked. The fuck?
That's just music's incredible. That's about it.
On Mondays, forget about it. I was locked in. I remember calling my friends on the phone. Goldberg just beat up for the United States. Tyler's got Hogan later. I couldn't believe it.
Hell yeah. I was hyped.
I was an Austin
I
guy.
was a teenager watching that shit. I was like,
And they gave that shit away for free.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's WCW. They
Yes.
hot-shotted everything.
That was the craziest part about anything.
They wanted TV ratings. They hot-shotted.
In the
you
Georgia
learn,
Dome.
Yeah.
And another thing you learn is hot-shotting is like one of the worst things you can do.
They had a pay-per-view that Sunday.
It's-
They did that match on a Monday and had a pay-per-view that Sunday.
I know. I don't even think he defended, or he defended against like Raven or something like that.
Oh, how about when the I think it was versus the Hart Foundation when the Brainbusters, they didn't defend the titles because they just won them at SummerSlam. So they're like, no, we're not putting the titles on the line. Like we have 30 days to defend these. We're not facing the Hart Foundation for the titles.
I don't blame him.
Oh no, it's so
That's a
smart.
great heel thing.
That's so awesome.
It taught me you got to read your contract to know what you're entitled to.
Yeah, I have 30 days. I'm not putting the titles on the line.
Yeah, that's a great heel thing.
So you put at your number 2, Angus. You put Rick Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
I'm gonna keep it at number in Minnesota, and I'm gonna go with Mr. Perfect.
Makes sense.
My
I
number
knew that's
2.
where you was going.
This guy from just
I knew
the
that's where you was
vignettes
going.
and everything. Like he couldn't wrestle a bad match, and watching him versus Bret Hart was just looked seamless, and it was the first time I remember watching wrestling and thinking, wow, this feels like real competition. Like
You can go put that match right now and still enjoy every second of it. Both of the matches.
I watch it at least.
Yeah.
I watch it at least once a year. I love it.
Dude, how about the IC title? Well, the IC title tournament when Keenan came out and they beat Chico Santana. That was phenomenal when they crowned him.
Absolutely. But for me, like even when I was wrestling, like
Yes,
I took a lot after Mr. Perfect. Like that fat mare into the neck whip. Like I modified
Yeah, the neck whip's incredible.
Did it my way. I used to hit the perfect plex, and like that was important to me. Like I had to do it just like Perfect did it. Like I wasn't nearly the athlete that he was, but to be able to bridge back and hit that.
You want to pay honor too.
Exactly. Oh my God, just Mr. Perfect, man. Everything he did was so smooth. And
How about?
And I agree with the little banner at the bottom. He might be the best guy to never hold the WWE championship, WWF championship.
You know what? Like, but he had that nice feud with him and the Genius, versus like Hogan and whoever Hogan was running with at the time on like Saturday Night's Main Event and all that.
Yeah, beefcake.
At least he got the championship opponent payday for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw it out there because Perfect's my number 1 while we're talking about him. Who else could have made Big Boss Man look? Boss Man was good for his size and everything, but who else could have made Boss Man look that amazing at Mania 7? Just like Boss Man. No, Akeem couldn't have done nothing. Gang was awesome, but Akeem. But like I remember Boss Man slapping Hennon, and Hennon does like a tornado twist and bump, like Perfect was the best ever.
His selling was unbelievable, man. No
Some
one
people
sold
say Selling was a little too over the top.
Perfect did back in the day. No one.
Some people say Selling was a little too much, but I love it all. I love Perfect.
No,
I don't disagree at all.
I love when he used to get hit. His head smashed on the turnbuckle would be the 360 in the air.
Oh yeah. He hit the top rope and jump. Yeah. Oh.
I used to love the little things, like where he would be walking on the rope, holding on to the top rope. You kick his leg out.
Yep, you knew that kick was coming.
Bob, I think our first match versus each other, we pretty much stole like anything we could from Perfect Hennon. Like you would do a takedown, and then I would do the leg push off. Then I do a takedown, you do the leg push off. It was pretty much. It was like a shitty version of Perfect versus Hart.
Shitty would be an improvement.
And all you heard was,
that was our first gimmick.
All right, Ty, what do you got? Who you got coming in at number 1?
That's funny. Number 1, the reason why I am in this business today, he is the best there is, the best there was, and absolutely the best that ever will be. He is Bret the Hitman Hart. That man is everything. I know I said that before, but I absolutely mean it. Bret Hart is my guy. Yes. I even made a pair of trunks in tribute of Bret Hart. I love that man. The sharpshooter is everything. Everything about Bret, Oh my God, his selling, his punches, his storytelling. Oh my! I can watch the Iron Man match over and over and over again. And now you can see why I fucking hate Goldberg.
I can
ended
picture
my man's career.
I was just telling my wife about like how upset Bret Hart is, like, and how he got so screwed about he didn't want to leave the WWF. Just yesterday, around this time, I was telling my wife like the history of Bret Hart, and she don't give a shit. Like I'm just like rambling on to her. And then he got kicked in the head, and then this happened, and then this happened. She don't give a shit.
So I'm gonna agree with Ty, and I have number one as well as the Hitman. Bret Hart is my all-time favorite. I'm not just my childhood favorite.
Right there on the wall, baby.
Oh, beautiful. For me, it's Bret. I never did get a pair of those sunglasses as a kid. There's nothing I ever wanted more than
I had them. I bought them.
I have to buy them. And
it's trying to make them.
Hitman jersey.
I had two of them. The glasses. Not that I got them first row. I mean, like I bought them. That used to be one of my ploys. Now, clearly, my mom wasn't buying, but one of my ploys to go to the Spectrum just about every month was like, "But Mom, Bret Hart will be there. But Mom, Bret Hart will be there," because I think a lot of women swooned over Bret Hart. You know.
My mom loved Bret.
Yeah, I wanted to go see Hulk Hogan. She wanted to go see Bret Hart.
The Lonesome Dove himself.
Yeah. I had a lot of Bret Hart stuff growing up because my mom would just buy me anything Bret Hart because she had like a crush on him, you know.
Yeah, me too. And I think like that just fueled my fandom of him. And like my oldest son's name is Brett, and I met Brett while his mother was pregnant, and I shook his hand. I said, "My first son's name is going to be Brett." He looked me right in the eye, and he told me, he said, "Make sure you spell it with one T, because when he's signing autographs someday, it's going to be a lot easier on his hands."
That's how my Bret Hart history coming up telling my wife about it yesterday was because of the party for Bret, and I started telling her about the 1T.
Yeah.
So then
finally, years later, I took Bret to meet Bret at a convention. And I think he was maybe about 12 at the time. And I shook his hand, and I told Bret, and he goes, Bret the Hitman, and he goes, "Didn't you meet like a Best Buy or something to tell me this?" And I couldn't believe it. I swear to God, that's the God's honest truth. Like,
you're breaking up.
I swear to God that I was. Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I've heard you the whole time.
Yeah, you go.
I hear you on my
So he meets Bret, and he remembers the interaction him and I had 12 years prior at some random Best Buy. And yeah, you can call me a mark or whatever, but there's nobody who has left such a staple on my life as Bret Hart. He's the reason I became a wrestler as well.
Yeah. Honorable mention. My honorable mention is like Taz. My honorable mention is ECW. Just ECW.
Thank you.
Oh, Channel 48. That's my honorable mention. Taz and Rhino.
It's so tough
when I
to
wore
put
singlet
ECW into your top 5 just because they were so small, but yeah, they're definitely.
That wasn't like ECW wasn't like a first memory or Taz, but that was like a formative year. That was like 7th grade, like
Taz, Dreamer, Raven,
Rhino banging on the wall. "I'm going to F you up. I'm going to score you." Rhino used to strike fear in my heart.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
My first memory of ECW. My first memory of ECW. A friend of mine, he told me to turn on wrestling. He said they got wrestling on 48 and they tape it here in Philadelphia. I said, "Get the fuck out of here." And I turned it on, and it was Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck winning titles. That's the first ECW I ever. I remember. That's what the hell was this?
I remember being at like 8th grade dances, like with like people, and everybody knew I was a wrestler, Mark, like back then, and people would come up to me like, "Oh, I know the WWF's fake, but that ECW, that's real." Like people like.
That's the real stuff right there.
That's the real stuff. Oh, I like that one, Frankie.
In my middle school, if you were one of the lucky kids to get your hands on an ECW T-shirt, you were one of the cool kids. An NWO shirt, a Steve Austin shirt, or an ECW shirt would go a long way.
Yeah. It's so funny looking back at, speaking about the Austin T-shirts, how many people were marked for like Austin back then. Like, I remember my wife had friends that were just like, "Oh yeah, they all had Stone Cold shirts and everything." I'm like, where were you? Where were you during like Sid vs. Diesel? Where were you for Sid vs. Diesel? Just like
God.
everybody's a Sixers mark nowadays. Like, where were you for Thad Young and Andre Miller?
Ty, who you got for your honorable mentions? I went with Taz as well.
I think we all agree.
Taz.
I think we all just agree.
Okay.
Taz was it. Taz was that dude.
The intensity and the realism
I
that
wore,
dude brought.
Yeah, I wore a towel over my head to the ring because of Taz when I wore
I
singles.
remember.
I did T-bone soup. I literally, to this day, my T-bone suplex is called the T-bone Typlex.
That's perfect.
So
That's
Taz
beautiful.
was everything to me.
That's good homage.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
I
think
love
we're coming-
Taz, man.
We are coming to that point in time in the show where we need to call last call. So for last call
Cool.
today, I'll start it off, but I'd like to hear everybody's Mount Rushmores.
Did we just do that?
No, we did a top 5, but it's
Oh,
different.
okay, all time.
Yeah, top 5.
So this is your for Mount Rushmore. I don't want your favorite wrestlers. I want you who's going to be engraved in stone that represents the wrestling business. But who's the most important to you all time? That goes on Mount Rushmore. Number 1 for me on Rushmore has to be Hogan, because without Hogan, we wouldn't have the wrestling business as we know it today, or the wrestling business as it was in the mid '90s when he reinvigorated.
Well, no, because without the '80s, you wouldn't have the '90s.
Exactly, but he also reinvigorated it and made it cool when he became Hollywood Hogan. On the second person on Mount Rushmore for me, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't think for me you can have a Mount Rushmore without Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he's also the one.
Yeah,
he brought more awareness. He brought more eyeballs to the business.
Like I just said, my wife had friends who never watched wrestling, and they had Austin T-shirts.
Oh yeah, but it was cool. Is that smoking skull with the Austin 360?
I had that. I got in trouble.
It was so basic. It was a basic shirt, and it was awesome.
Yeah, he got the word "what" over. Like, come on, like anything he said was going to turn into a.
They still use it. They still use it. It's still a staple.
To this day.
Yeah.
I have to put Ric Flair on my Mount Rushmore in the number 3 spot. I got to put Ric Flair on.
Ric Flair.
What? Hook, line, and sinker. I fell for that one. But Ric Flair, like, he speaks for himself. His spot.
I did too.
He belongs enshrined up there. And then I'm gonna put a controversial and polarizing person on my Mount Rushmore as well.
Nails.
Yes, Nails. No, I was between 2 people. For me, it was between Jericho and Cena, and I went with Cena because I don't think the business would have survived the late 2000s without John Cena.
No, you're right. They didn't have a star. They didn't have a Hogan at 5 foot. I don't
need to go because everything that you put on your Mount Rushmore, that was mine. So
yeah,
I don't need to go. I
got Hogan, Austin, Flair, HBK. I think HBK got us through some rough times.
No, HBK just for the
that's because you're a Bret Mark.
To do jobs.
You say that because you're a Bret Mark.
I am a Bret Mark. Fuck Sean.
Sean's the greatest ever.
Fuck him. He's a shitbag.
How about Kurt Angle though? Kurt Angle was amazing. Comedy, sincerity, like Kurt Angle's phenomenal.
So, with the exception of, who would you? So you pretty much agreed with my Mount Rushmore.
So it's Hogan, Austin, Flair. Hogan, Austin, Flair is it right there, and then you have one spot which could be subjectual to anybody.
And I'm putting Cena. Who's in
here? I agree.
Angus.
I agree with you.
I'd probably go.
I will put The Rock, but that's because I'm a Rock. But I had to put Cena.
I much prefer The Rock now and the human being that The Rock has become more than I ever did the wrestler.
Honestly, I'd probably go JYD. I think JYD covered so many grounds. And I feel like he brought like African Americans into like a white culture. Like not a white culture, but he brought a lot like
everybody loves
on the product.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Tyreno, thanks again for joining us. Where can people find your wonderful Tyreno gear?
And it's phenomenal gear.
Thanks for having me. You can follow me on @Tyreno Instagram, or you can follow me @Tyreno on Instagram, or Tyreno on Facebook, or hey, what's up, Coach? Or you can follow me, the one Tyrino on Twitter.
Well, there goes kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe.
Kayfabe or a fourth wall.
All right, you can please go on DJB Production Network on YouTube. Give us a like and subscribe.
Hit like and subscribe. Subscribe that way. Subscribe that way.
For my brother Angus McIntyre and Johnny McIntyre, you can find us on Facebook at the Brothers McIntyre. You can find me at B_steady on Instagram, and you can someday maybe find Joe Angus on Facebook.
I'm old, dude. I don't need that shit.
Yeah. Hi, Spot. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cilantro, Ty, thank you. I hate my fucking voice.